Hello and welcome to English Literature class of Standard 11. Literary terms. This is the topic that we'll be studying today. Now the writers and the speakers, they use different techniques and styles and also forms of writing so as they can strengthen their compositions and writings. Now they can also include different tools of persuasions so that they can convince and attract the audience towards them, towards their writing. These are the functions of literary terms. These are literary terms. In our lower classes, we have already studied figures of speech. That is the same is termed as literary terms in literature. Some useful literary terms. This is the lesson that we are going to study now. This lesson is based on the glossary of literary terms by M.H. Abrahams. That is from this book of M.H. Abrahams, the useful literary terms, that is figures of speech as we know it and we are familiar with it. We will be learning that in this particular part. We altogether we are having 54 literary terms to be learned in our textbook. One by one we will be learning it, and in this part of explanation we will be learning 18 figures of speech or literary terms. Literary terms can also be called as figures of speech. We are familiar to this figures of speech: simile, metaphor, personification, idioms, hyperbole. All these are the different figures of speech that we are learning from our lower classes. But now there will be more entry of these figures of speech, that is literary terms, and we will be having altogether 54 figures of speech, that is literary terms we can say it, and these out of these 54 we will be studying 18 in this first part. Then we will continue with the others in the next part. So let's begin with the first figure of speech. To start with, allegory. Allegory is that type of story in which characters as well as the events, they depict or show a particular time, a certain time in which the events are occurring. It might be historical, and also the background of the stories will be politically based. So the story is the content together either of historical or of political background. There are two types of allegories: historical and political allegory. Now in historical allegory, the characters, the events, all are based on the historical background, whereas in political allegory the story theme will be based on politics. So now here, for example, it is given that Dryden's Absalom and Achitophel's King David, both of them they represent Charles II. Absalom represents his natural son, the Duke of Monmouth, and the biblical plot allegorizes a political crisis in that time of England, which means that all the two people they were they were depicting the character of Charles II, and the background of the story was connected with Bible. It was the events based on Bible, and also it was at the time when the political crisis was going on in that particular time in England. The allegory of idea, here the characters are having abstract powers, or characters are represented in such a way that abstract concepts are put forward in the story. In the past it can be said that the people were living in the caves and they led their life completely there. So all such type of concepts, or you can also give the latest example as Doraemon with a lot of gadgets in his pocket. So it is an abstract idea. Like that, allegory of idea, you can say it. Slip into silence, slumber sail on a silver mist, slowly but surely your senses will cease to resist. Now here the sound of S is continuously repeated. Alliteration is the literary term where the repetition of consonant sounds is in sequence of nearby words. Alliteration, the use of the same beginning consonant in the line or the verse, means again and again that same word is repeated or that same sound is repeated. One more example here is Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Sound of pp is pep is repeated continuously. Also we can consider the following lines of Coleridge, the rhyme of the American mariner. The cold breeze blew, the white foam flew. Here the word foam flew, the furrow followed free. So the sounds are repeated, consonants are repeated, so that is alliteration. In assonance, sound of vowels is repeated. The repetition of identical or similar vowel sounds, especially in stress syllables, means where we have to give a stress to that word for poetic sense or for repetition. For example, patience always pays. A is repeated. Next line is the rain is in Spain falls mainly in the plain. In again the word is the letters are repeated, that sound is repeated. Thou faster, child of silence and slow tune, thou still unravished bride of quietness. Thou, here that sound is repeated. Anticlimax is that term where exactly the opposite happens as to what is expected. The writer intentionally drops from the serious and the elevated to the trivial and the lowly. Means he drops down to certain unexpected idea. For example, I can bring the sun, the moon and the stars for you. Also handful of peanuts. Now here he is coming right from sun, moon, stars to a handful of peanuts. So the idea straight away goes down. He fought for the glory of his country and for rupees 50 per day. So he is fighting for the glory of his country also. That is a big achievement, and suddenly it drops down to rupees 50 per day. Apostrophe means a comma is used for indicating possession, that is to show possession of anything. Apostrophes are not used to indicate plurality possession, means possession of more than one person. It is only for one single person we give comma. Now coming to apostrophe is when we address personified idea or object. Means for example, if we say that destiny, you will never be able to defeat me. Here we are talking to destiny. So destiny is personified. It is not a human being, but we give destiny a human quality, so comma is written there. Next sentence is bless us, O tree, with plentiful fruit this year. So bless us, O tree, comma again is given there because we are addressing tree as a person. So in this way commas apostrophe is used. Apostrophe is used after the second person, like, "Oh mother, if you were here today, you would have been so proud." After "Oh mother," we will be giving a apostrophe. Next is this the India of your dreams? Again, Gandhiji is there. The person is asked the question, so comma is given before that. Now a person who is present is addressed in the third person, like the person we are talking about is present in front of us and we are talking to him as a third person. Then also in that sentence we give a comma, like apostrophe, like teacher to the student, young Rakesh. Teacher is addressing directly to the student. Young Rakesh is feeling very peppy today, isn't he? He needs a little punishment to set him right. So all this is written in inverted commas. A person refers to himself in the third person, like the person is talking about himself in a third person way, that time also apostrophe is used, that is two inverted commas on the side on the sentence. Like gang leader is saying whoever stays loyal to Bhai shares his fortune, whoever betrays him pays with his life. Inverted commas complete. Next second sentence is father is saying to son. Now father is saying to son, don't you see how your father is working himself to the bone to send you to college? Father is talking about himself to the son. Now this is again in question apostrophe commas. What is archaism? Archaism is when we use old outdated words to create an effect. It is the old outdated obsolete words that are out of use and they are used for creating an effect while writing. Examples are thou art thy own enemy, thou shalt not steal. In this way the words are used. Even the meanings of these words are enough, that is enough, I, that is yes, nay, no, ruth, pity or sorrow, twain, two. So all these words carry certain meanings and they are used for giving a creativity to the writing. What is aside? Aside is a short speech delivered by an actor directed towards the audience and not to the characters on the stage. It is a stage device in which the character expresses his thoughts and intentions and assumes that it is inaudible to the other characters on the stage. For example, here Romeo tells the audience his thoughts and the thoughts are, shall I hear more or shall I speak at this? This is the way of interacting with the audience so that the audience should be kept engaged. Ballad is a poem that is typically arranged in quartets, that is 4-line stanzas, with the rhyme scheme AB AB. Ballet is a popular type of children's poem which is rhythmic. It is a song which is committed orally, that is sung orally, which tells us a complete story. Now here is an example of a stanza of Lord Julian's daughter. A chieftain to the highlands bound cries, boatsman, do not tarry, and I will give thee a silver pound to row us over the ferry. What is a blank verse? Blank verse consists of poetic lines that are composed in a distinctive rhythm but do not rhyme. Means it has a rhythm but it does not rhyme. The last words do not have rhyming words. The last words of the lines do not have rhyming words. And the example from Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, the quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath, it's twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and takes, and him that takes. Now there is a difference between blank verse and free verse. In Hamlet's blank verse, all the sentences, all the lines, they had 10 to 11 syllables per line. That is, the syllables are the sounds from the words. Either the word will be having two syllables in it or three syllables. So like that, sounds are there in words and those sounds 10 to 11 syllables are there in Hamlet in per line which creates a rhythm, whereas in free verse the example is given of Churchill where we can see it is direct writing, it has no rhyme, and although free verse can have some just or present patterns but it does not have a structured pattern, it is completely free writing. So that is the difference between blank verse and free verse. Blank verse has creates a rhythm whereas there will be no rhyme in free verse. Conceit means when two things are unlike or they which we never think of together are shown to be alike in a single point in a way that we feel that they are incompatible with each other, not going along with each other. It is just like the spark made by the two striking stones. After the flash, the stones are just two stones. Some examples are given here, like my brain, I will prove the female to my soul. So you cannot prove the female to your soul, but it was written in Richard II William Shakespeare, which was written by William Shakespeare. Next sentence is my face in thine eye. Your face cannot be in someone's eye. Thine in mine appears means your face, my face appears in your eye, and your face appears in my eyes. And true plain hearts do not the faces rest where we can find two hemispheres. So all these are the comparisons which are made so that the things in contrast are brought together and a comparison is shown. Climax. A climax is when every added image increases the tension of the situation and it leads to the highest point. For example, on your marks, get set, go. This is end. He came, he saw, he conquered. The softly he began speaking, then the words began to flow, and soon it was torrent. A figure of speech. Climax is a figure of speech in which the intensity of the thought or emotion gradually increases in each successive words or phrases. Example, she dreamt of having a maid, a car, and a house. A dramatic work whose primary intention is to interest and amuse the reader, that is, to make the readers excited and interested, and also the end of the story or the plot and the characters have a happy ending, so that dramatic work is called as comedy. Declamation means the art of speaking to the audience in a formal manner. The speech or a piece of writing that strongly expresses the feelings and the opinions of that character and it addresses towards the audience. So that is declamation. Long speeches given by the characters to the audience as the clues or a special kind of a poem which a narrator utters in a specific situation at a critical moment. This is called as a dramatic monologue. It is addressed specially to the listeners, and Robert Browning is a great master of this style of writing. My Last Duchess, Andrea del Sarto, A Grammarian's Funeral, and a few others as dramatic monologues he has written. When the poem is written on the death of any person, for the grief of that death of a person, such poem is called as elegy. Alfred Tennyson's In Memoriam, mourning the death of Arthur Hallam, and John Milton Lycidas grieving over his friend Edward King is the example of elegy. An epic is a long narrative poem, and on the actions of the hero depends the fate of the tribe and the nation, and also the well-being of the human race. Some examples of Indian epics are Shakuntala, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and that of the English epics are Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, then Milton's Paradise Lost. To give big happenings in mild words, that is euphemism. Now euphemism is an understatement. It is used when a harsh reality is expressed in more agreeable terms. You can come to know about it with the examples. He has passed away. Actually it is he died, but if it is harsh to hear, so we can say he has passed away. Don't tell me fairy tales. It means don't tell me lies. The speaker wants to underplay the magnitude of something. He doesn't want to bring out the harsh truth in strong words. Small problems like cancer cannot dishearten me. So here the severity of cancer is shown with the word small problems. Bill Gates certainly owns a few pennies. So in this way, euphemism can be used to express harsh things in a better way. Thanks for watching. Meet you in the next video with some more literary terms. Till then, goodbye.